session back again because I had a drop-in contemplation message to share. So moving forward at these times, I'm just going to keep my eyes closed for the moment, unless I'll put on my sunnies, because as you know, with Matthias and I, we still have this distance thing going on until we land together. And that means his energy is in my field and it plays a part in different ways. Hot, cold, basically attachments through the energy field. Playing in the, the opposites. And what the energy is all about, which I guess is a pretty good segue into letting you know that into my message was from my last message, speaking of like the the moving forward momentum of our consciousness and keeping conscious of the design of that and how we're all moving forward in this sort of up-leveling awareness to include the whole of ourselves rather than just functioning at a particular awareness level, and we almost conform to a society structure, and change is slow coming. And so then things are sort of held in place for longer because we let them be. But now with the whole perspective of growth and being more consciously aware of our whole being, sitting with that, how do we do that? Well, the fact is that we're allowing our conscious awareness of our actual hooking up with heaven. So the fact that we're in a consciousness rising, like into the awareness of what we already are but haven't been able to see it, it's obviously in trust. So it's in following through of the truth of our design. And the more of us that are doing that, the more of us do it, and so on it goes. And what we developed trust in just becomes the trusting way of living. We've invited heaven in, and we've expanded the fact that the consciousness we're rising into is the fact we've opened up to our heavenly design. So a practical correlation to that is our human body design is of two halves, and down the middle we maintain a heavenly connection and balance. So if life starts to feel constricted for us, we're not opening enough to that fact, because we're not meant to live constricted, downward feeling beings. Does it feel good to anyone? No. So we help remind each other of these higher facts of the light in our chest is heaven and earth. So, we have two hemispheres of the brain, two arms, two legs, and a heart at the central alignment, and other supportive functions around it. So the light gets in right down the middle, permanently there. So if you could just for a moment remember, when you're having a hard time in life, that the light that wants to come through at your heart center is of that shape. Like, let it through, and remember to light yourself up all the way up and all the way down. And then, sitting with that, I thought, is there any other way to assist a further understanding of the mental space we're in on the planet as to why open up to heaven on earth? Why can't we just fight it out, bang our heads together, compete against each other, etc.? Why wouldn't we just continue doing that? Why am I even mentioning anything about trust in the divine? So picked up my little Bhagavad Gita and opened to where I actually had a bookmarker from when I last had a look at it. And yeah, so I just was going to flick through, but then it was held on that page. It's an energetic connection. It's like I check in, do I flick to another? Is there a message on another page? Or I hold it on that page, is it that page? Okay, it's an energetic connection. So, text 5, chapter 15, if anyone reads Bhagavad Gita. I pick it up every now and then because I love it. One who is free from illusion, false prestige, and false association, who understands the eternal, who is done with material lust and is freed from the duality of happiness and distress, and who knows how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attains to that eternal kingdom. So we're speaking of the power of light, of heaven. The fact that we're even here with this body design. Okay, so we're not meant to constrict these designs and live less than. We're meant to empower ourselves, remembering where we come from. So, you live in the world of material for this visit, but you got to remember you're not here to constrict due to it. You're here to keep opening on your soul path. Spiritual soul path. So the surrendering process is described here very nicely. The first qualification is that one should not be deluded by pride, because the conditioned soul is puffed up, thinking himself the lord of material nature. It is very difficult for him to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should know by the cultivation of real knowledge that he is not Lord of material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Lord. When one is free from delusion caused by pride, he can begin the process of surrender. For one who is always expecting some honor in this material world, it is not possible to surrender to the Supreme Person. Pride is due to illusion. For although one comes here, stays for a brief time, and then goes away, he has the foolish notion that he is the Lord of the world. He thus makes all things complicated, and he is always in trouble. The whole world moves under this impression. People are considering that the land, this earth, belongs to human society, and they have divided the land under the false impression that they are the proprietors. One has to get out of this false notion that human society is the proprietor of this world. When one is freed from such a false notion, he becomes free from all the false associations caused by familial, social, and national affections. These fake associations bind one to this material world. After this stage, one has to develop spiritual knowledge. One has to cultivate knowledge of what is actually his own and what is actually not his own. And when one has an understanding of things as they are, he becomes free from all dual conceptions, such as happiness and distress, pleasure and pain. He becomes full in knowledge. Then it is possible for him to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Let's take a moment. Supreme Personality of Godhead. The highest nature of love, light, and law within all of us. Nothing is attached to us, and we aren't attached to it. We are simply borrowing time in this vicinity. So when we become attached to something, careful of what you do with the law of your highest nature or lowest form. One must always aim to attain the balance between this law and our form. Enjoying it all. In a balanced reform. We're going through that reforming in nature of it all. And in that, God, we trust. We are going through the balancing of nature in reform. Simplified in law. The order of law of the universe. we are designed in it, one with. Can't get out of it, can't go anywhere. The signs are restrict, or in expanse. So we don't want to restrict for too long. It's natural to constrict or seen as restricting something for too long, constricting, or remembering the nature of love, light, law is universal expanse. So that is seen in our very being, in our actions, in our choices. So when you know you're going into that, just remind yourself of a few things. And so I hope there's anything I've shared that can be of a reminder. And for you to reach for things that may not be of the usual rational or logical response, but it comes from inside in a forward, light momentum, opening response. So it's okay if it's change and it looks different, because that's expanse. I think that's my main reminder. Thanks, everyone. God bless.